Alright guys, let's start with the Mass Effect 1 review. So we just finished the game on the stream, and these are my still fresh thoughts. Bear with me, might talk some absolute bullshit, but who cares. So there's two things which I found annoying. One of them is bad. The weapon changing, it's horrible. I don't understand the weapon changing in this game. The reason I haven't changed the weapons is because it takes 10 minutes to do one. And then it's... First of all, if you are changing the weapons using the mouse wheel, it's so slow. In order to get to the weapon which you want to get to, it takes like 20 minutes. Changing the weapons through the space, through using the shift and then doing it like that, just feels so counter-immersive that even though I've done it, I still hated doing that. And you still have to wait, and then if you want to change to something else while the initial change is happening, you can't. And I do not like the weapon changing at all. It is horrible, and it could have been done much better. Like, it's an issue I talked about a few streams ago with games in general these days, where everything has to be so realistic. And like God of War is the best example of that. This one, with the changing the weapons, I understand. That's if I was changing the weapon IRL, yes, I would be that slow and it would be like that. But I don't want to change the weapon like that in game as well. And the second thing I didn't like, and I know some people might find it weird that I'm even saying this because I didn't take the opportunity to use that part of the game that much. I don't like the cover too much. And do you know why I don't like the cover? Is because at least I'm playing on the keyboard and mouse. It's a bit annoying to actually get out of the cover sometimes. And the second thing is occasionally when I'm behind the cover, my character doesn't really want to do anything until I get to the specific position, and then she wants to aim. But like, unless you are on the edges, she doesn't seem to want to aim, so I have to get to the edges. And if I'm standing behind the cover, she doesn't want to, just lean over and start shooting. Unless I'm doing something wrong, but that's what I've noticed. Like, it has to be, first you have to be in a specific position, then if you quickly want to get around it, if you quickly want to get away from it, it doesn't really respond in a way that it should respond in. And I just found it a bit annoying, and it's one of the reasons I didn't use cover that much, just because I didn't like it. So that one and the weapon changing is definitely the things I didn't really like that much. Sticky cover is definitely something that hasn't been fixed in Mass Effect, just part of the experience, gotta get used to it. I know, I sort of got used to it by the end, but I still don't like it. I kind of wish that, that part of the game was in a better spot, especially with the remaster, but I guess they didn't really want to do anything with that. They wanted to leave the OG experience, so yeah, whatever. Is there anything else I disliked in the game? I can't really say there is, honestly. No, there's not. I'll be honest with you. Like, there's at least I played the game on the normal difficulty, so maybe if I played the game on the hardest difficulty, maybe there would be something else. Cutscenes being unskippable, okay. Chris just mentioned it. Cutscenes being unskippable, and especially the one in the last fight against Saren. Like the one that happens after like a minute or something, once you take away the first shield. It's unskippable for some reason. And if you die on the fight like 20 times on the hardest difficulty, you have to fight. You have to watch the cutscene 20 times. It's a bit annoying to say the least, and I don't understand. WoW has the same issues with one cutscene especially, and I hated that. Like, you cannot skip the cutscene, so you kind of have to go around that cutscene to not even trigger it in order to not watch it. And I don't like when I don't like it. I can understand if it's the first time you're seeing the cutscene, sure. But if it's like 5 times and you still can't skip it, I mean, if the second time you can skip it, like, no thank you. But I think that's about the things I didn't like. Like, I'm trying to think through my head right now quickly. Story, combat in general, characters, locations, Mako. No, like, most of the things it's not on the side where I disliked it, okay? So now, let's talk about the things which I think the game does. Okay, someone Thor just mentioned running stamina as thing I don't like, and yeah, okay. Yes, Thor, you're correct. Yes, I hate the fact that you can only run for like 3 seconds before your character is absolutely destroyed. Doesn't matter that I'm commander of the universe, that I'm the, I don't even know what I am, but I'm a special soldier in a way, and I'm like, I'm able to run for 3 seconds before my character gets exhausted and has to, jog on for the next few seconds again. But it's a minor thing. You get used to it after a while, and thankfully there's not that much running that you need to do all the time, you know. You don't really notice it. At least I didn't notice it that much the further I went into the game. I noticed it on the start, and I complained about it, but nah, well, by the end of the game I didn't even care about it anymore, I suppose, so yeah. Sorry. Anyway, the things I like. So the first thing I liked, I definitely... Like, one of the biggest things about this game, which is also what I liked in the game I played recently in Tyranny, is the choices and the consequences. I love when choices actually have big consequences. And especially more because I got told this game will have consequences in the second game. I'm kind of excited about that. But yeah, you know, choosing something and then seeing the effects of that happening actually in the game, like letting someone die and then you see that being mentioned like later on, or something, you know, not being available to you because you didn't really choose certain option here and there. I always like that. I mean, I would have liked it if it's even more noticeable, but it's noticeable enough for me to like it. And I do really love the amount of, you know, choices you can even make. And at some parts of the game you have like 3 to 4 choices you can make. You can even mess up certain like side quests. I messed up one of the side quests because I just made a wrong decision during the conversation, which is annoying, but, you know, kind of realistic and fun at the same time. You know, talking to the NPC, if you tell him what he doesn't want to hear, he's going to, you know, not want to do the quest with you. So that's really fun, and I really love that part of the game, like, quite a bit. And the second thing, I think the combat, outside of the fact I said the weapon changing is bad, I think the combat is quite fun. Like, it's nothing too dramatic. I think it's because I haven't played the game on the hardest difficulty, but I still haven't made the maximum use of biotics in the game, and I think that's one of the... Maybe that's kind of... How do I say this, but I've not seen the full version of the Mass Effect combat as I should have if I use biotics to its maximum. Like, I only really started using biotics like at the last 20% of the game, and that's mostly I've been using shields and to recharge the shields and stuff like that, and to resurrect my comrades, like, but nothing real too else. But if you remove that from consideration, like, the combat in general was quite fine. Like I said, nothing extraordinary. It's a simple shooting, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing much I can say about that, you know. Good, effective, simple, no, nothing too bad about it. I love the characters. That's definitely, I think, the best thing about the game, for me at least, were the characters. Because each one of them has their own personality, has their own characteristics that you like and disliked. And I like even though, again, I started with this later on, but that's because I didn't actually know you can start it that early. Like like the interaction between the character and the romancing part as well. I started it way too slow. I should have started it earlier, and maybe if I did, I would be able to do some of the things I kind of messed up on. But in the end, I was only able to interact. Sorry, I was only able to romance with Kaidan, unfortunately, and I had in mind to romance with everyone, but I guess it's because I started it way too late that I couldn't achieve it in time. I guess if I started romancing right after the first mission, I would be able to romance at least 2 of them, right? If that's how it works. But it was really fun to, you know, to talk to characters, to get personal, and to see how they react to compliments or, you know, negative things you mentioned to them. I really like that part of the game. And but there's only 2 you can romance. I'm guessing Kaidan and what? Ashley? Or Kaidan and Liara? Wait, you can romance Liara. So Kaidan, Ashley, and Liara, right? Unless one of them 3 is not romanceable. I mean, Kaidan definitely is. Liara for female. Ah, okay. Well, whatever, still, I really liked it, and I do hope that in Mass Effect 2 you will be able to go even more crazy with that. And I'm excited to see how it works out. I did like the storyline. It's simple enough. I mean, anyone who watches my streams knows that I struggle occasionally when I'm streaming to understand the story. And I'm sure I'm not 100% into the story of this game as well. But I really liked it. It was nothing too complex from my mind to understand as I'm going. and I'm most likely gonna have to go through like small YouTube video later on to go through it a bit in detail and to see what I missed. But I thought the story was real good, was nicely explained, and helps out a lot that the whole game is voiced over as well. So like some of the games where you have to read the text on your own, you kind of get lost in it occasionally and you miss some of the details. But because in this game everything has a voiceover, you can just focus on that. You can just focus on listening to them, and it gets to your mind a lot easier that way. At least that's how it works with me. And you can understand some of the things quite a lot easier than I did, for example, in Tyranny. And okay, this is a bit underrated, but let's compare this game to Tyranny. And because it's a similar way of playing the game in a way. I mean, there's some combat here and there, and then there's a lot of interaction between the characters, there's a lot of talking. And but one thing which Tyranny does annoyingly bad is there's too much text on the screen at one point. By the time you go from the first word to the last word, you lose like 45 seconds occasionally, and human mind can't absorb that much information. Then after 10 minutes you're like, what did he even say on the start of this conversation? Whereas I think in Mass Effect there's really not that much words per event in a way, if that makes any sense, like words per conversation, that you can easily, or well, a lot easier you can understand like what's being said. You can more easily absorb the information. At least that's how I found it. And no, I'm not going to mention and compare this game to Failsail. I was just giving a direct comparison to a game which has a similar style in conversations at least. But no, the conversations and the dialogues and the options in this game are done in a really good way. And like I said, due to the fact everything has a voiceover, it's much easier to understand most of those things rather than having to read every single thing. But yeah. Now the thing which I don't know if I like or dislike, it's a bit annoying. It's a bit on the weird side. That there's so many systems, there's so many planets, and for 80% of them, the only thing you can do is read the description. I mean, I know if the game gave you the option of visiting and doing something on every single one of them, it would be never ending, I suppose. But there's like 50,000 of them that are like just description of them. And I guess it adds to the immersion that you are in this huge, obviously space is huge, that you are in space, and that not every planet should be visitable or whatnot. But there was a certain system where I went to, and I think only one of them was landable, and nothing else was landable because it was uninhabitable. I was a bit, okay, that's a bit weird. But at the positive side, there's so many planets, there's so many things to check up on, to explore on, to see how the civilization, to see how the planet looks like, all those kind of things. I know it's the universe, how to land on the gauge, I know, but there's way too many of those kind of things. That's what I mean. There's just way too many of those kind of just giants where you can't land. But it's nothing too bad. I don't find it annoying or something. I just had to mention it. But like I said, on the more positive side, the fact is there's too many. The universe is huge. There's so many of those planets that you can visit, that you can land on them, that you can explore them, do some side quests and whatnot. Drive around in your Mako as well. Which brings me to my next point, which is Mako. Mako goes literally from the worst thing in the game to the best thing in the game by switching the options. So if I'm using the classic one, right? No, or if I'm using the modern one, I'm not sure which one is the more annoying one. I think the modern one is the annoying one, right? So if you go from using the modern one, Mako is horrible, annoying, just frustrating. Switch to classic, Mako suddenly becomes enjoyable, nice, easy to use, functional, and just a enjoyable thing to use in the game. And the thing I hate on the modern, I think it was the fact the aiming follows the way you rotate your camera. The movement of the Mako follows the camera. So basically, if you rotate your camera because you want to shoot at something, your vehicle is actually going to move towards the camera, which I don't understand. Why would that be? Like, who plays like that? Is there a single person who actually plays the game and thinks, oh, this is how I want to play? Like, what? It's horrible. So and then you switch to classic one, and it works the normal way. You drive your vehicle and then use the mouse to aim and to shoot. Perfect. That's how every vehicle combat should look like. You know, the first one just makes no sense to me. Like, I was doing the fight against the big worm, I think, or whatever it was, on one of the planets for the side quest, and that's before I changed, so I was still on the modern controls. I just couldn't do it because I wanted to shoot it, and my vehicle was moving towards the worm. They had to move on the side. It was like never ending because you just had to make so many events. Sorry, you had to do so many actions to actually even get shooting, and just very frustrating that. But thankfully you can just switch over to classic and it becomes just honestly very good experience. I love Mako. I just love it now, and it's very fun to drive around. It's very fun that you can kill everyone who you want to kill. And it's good fun. It can occasionally roll over and then you're stuck for like half a minute until the game decides it's a good time to turn it back, but yeah. It is very good fun. Anyway, did I miss something? Did I miss something I should be talking about? I went through the characters, I went through the story quickly, I went through Mako, I went through combat, I went through, you know, the universe in general a bit. Did I miss out on something? I don't think so, right? At least nothing major that I should be talking about. I'm just thinking. I mean, I shouldn't really bring up the fact it's kind of linked with the decisions and consequences that I killed everyone. And I love the fact you can just kill the Arachne Queen, you can kill the Council, and the game gives you the options to do everything like that. That's kind of linked to my previous topic though, which I talked about already, but it's good fun, the game gives you those options. And yeah, everything is sort of explainable as well, like, you know, for every decision you make, there's a logical explanation behind it, even if some people will not agree with that. But there's explanation behind everything. Anyway, Paragon and Renegade system. Okay, I can mention something about the Paragon and Renegade system. What's there to mention actually? It's a system which rewards you based on the actions you do. I mean, it's kind of good. I mean, maybe I just haven't fully understood it post-soon. Maybe there's some complexity to it which I haven't really gotten to just yet, because, you know, I did kind of only go through the main story. And I know Paragon and Renegade system is actually linked to the options you actually have in some of the conversations. So I got to the end of the game and I was missing two options in one of the dialogues, and it's because my Paragon and Renegade system was not actually fully developed and I couldn't choose them. So I kind of like that. Like, some of the options become available only if you are evil enough, and some of them become available only if you are good enough. I kind of like that system. I mean, I'm not sure what else to say on that one though. You know, it's good, it's functional, it's working, it's rewarding as well, you know. I should definitely, I mean, I will eventually replay the game at my own pace, and by already knowing what's gonna happen, I can skip on a lot of the conversations, so it's gonna save me time. And then I can focus more on the side quests and getting that system like up to where it should be. Why are you using that emote? Not like this. Is it because of the side quests? I'm gonna do side quests, but I never intended to do them on the stream because they just take so long. There's just too many of them, so they will have to wait a little bit. They will have to wait. Anyway, I think that's about it. All in all, it's a very, very good game. I really enjoyed it. Good fun. I would recommend it to anyone who hasn't played it. It's good fun. You will definitely enjoy it. Even if you only do the main story, it's good 20 hours of the gameplay. You will have the decisions you can make in the game, the consequences that follow. You will have the combat, most likely. You will have the characters. You might not like certain details about the combat that much. But in the end, you will enjoy the game very much. And just don't do me. Make sure you talk to everyone all the time, and don't miss out on the romance options early in the game. Just get going with that. Start early. You know how the saying goes? Early Walker gets all the something. How does the saying go? Early Walker gets all the stuff. Ko rano rani dvije sreće grabi. Nije. No, not that one. No, there's a saying. Early bird gets the worm. That's the one. Early bird gets the worm. Okay, follow that with the romancing option as well. Okay, well, thanks for watching the Mass Effect 1 review, guys. Hope you enjoyed my rambling. And most likely make not that much sense, but it's my after game review, you know. Things are still kind of fresh in my mind, but they are not fully developed. Okay, anyway, thank you for watching, have a good one, and bye bye.